This episode is brought to you by Utilize, the app that lets you rent anything to and from your neighbors. Rent paddleboards, trailers, bounce houses, and just about anything else. You can turn it into an easy side hustle by renting out the stuff you already own. Best of all, it's a greener way to live because you don't need to buy the party supplies, outdoor gear, or tools that you'll only use once or twice. Now just rent them, all for less. Download the app today. Utilize. YOODLIZE.
Check out great deals at Safeway. This week at Safeway, 1 pound of strawberries or 6 ounces of blueberries, raspberries, or blackberries are 3 for $12. Member price. Plus get value packs of USDA Choice Boneless Beef Tri-Tip Roast, untrimmed twin packs for $3.87 per pound with digital coupon. Limit 2 packages. And local green or red seedless grapes for the member price of $1.88 per pound. Also at Safeway, 16 ounces of Jenny-O turkey. Selected varieties are buy one, get one free. Visit Safeway.com or head in store for more deals.
Hey, hello, my paranormal peeps. This is Matt with Deep Woods Paranormal, coming to you with another Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about a few things today. Number one, the doll. I didn't bring her over here, but so essentially, yeah, there's been some more activity in the house. I don't know if it's her that has an attachment or if it's maybe the spectacles right here, the theater spectacles. Something over here sitting on that table has some kind of attachment. Again, if you're just listening, I apologize. You won't be able to visually see this, but I have a table set up with several things. I have possibly a haunted doll. I have spectacles that are from the late 1800s, early 1900s that I got from a thrift shop. And then, of course, we've got all these 2 boxes. If you're looking on YouTube, the top one is our passed away dog, Farley, and the bottom one's Miss Allie. And then the little dragon thing over here, I got that from an estate sale where somebody had just passed away. I just thought that was cool looking. So I don't know what over there has an attachment. If you listen to our video where we did a spirit box session, we actually got something that came through that was pretty interesting. A lot of voices came through. Anyways, so our house is not actively haunted or haunted in any way. Our house is pretty quiet most of the time. If you haven't heard me say this before, our house is, we built this house. We had this built for us, custom built and stuff on a piece of land that basically just had forested around it. I do believe there is a resident ghost that's here. I believe she's some kind of Indian. I've only seen her a couple of times. She has this long jet black hair, and she has an outfit on that looks like it's from like the Indian, what an Indian would wear back in the day. And then she just looks to me like her complexion and stuff looks like she's got some darker, tanner skin. So she could be Hispanic, or she could be maybe just somebody that wore Indian outfits. But I'm pretty sure she's an older spirit, and she's pretty quiet. I think I've only seen her 3 or 4 times. She's not usually here very often. If she is here, she's dormant. She doesn't do anything or whatever. Since I brought that haunted doll and the spectacles into the house, we've had some strange things. Like last night, we had a gate, a baby gate that we use for the dogs to keep them out of our bathroom. It was leaning against my dresser, and it shook violently. And Amanda actually witnessed something, which is funny. So she always tells me I'm crazy. But yeah, she actually saw it. I mean, we didn't. I didn't see it. She didn't see it, but we heard it, and we went and shook it. And it's like, okay, yep, that's what that was. Other activity. I think something, whatever it is, tried to follow me from that other house that we were renting when we first moved to Texas. Normally, it stays outside in the garage. I get things knocked out of my hand in the garage. Things move on their own in the garage. Um, it just feels very angry out there sometimes, like something's really pissed off. Um, and I don't think it's a human spirit. I don't think it's here all the time either. I think it comes and goes and waits for its opportunities to attack, if you will. Sometimes it does get into the house. This house is not blessed. The reason for that is when you bless a home, in my opinion, just my opinion, you create a church like environment. When you create a church like environment, human spirits tend to go to those locations to protect themselves, to keep the negative away from them. My theory is, and again, this is just a theory, it's just based off my personal experiences. My belief is that human spirits are picked on by demonic spirits. I also do think that sometimes demonic spirits will, number one, interact, but number two, also manipulate those spirits to do bad things. And then, of course, there's the people that were, um, not necessarily possessed, but they followed, what the demons said and did all kinds of bad things. Maybe they shot somebody, maybe they murdered somebody, um, maybe they just did something bad, but it wasn't just them. It was basically they were listening to this entity that basically was giving them power, making them feel like they were, a god or something like that, making them feel invincible. And then, of course, when something bad happens and they got caught, they're left holding the bag, and the demonic entity basically kind of not captures their soul, but it has them locked in. So, all right. Um, let's see. Let's get into something else. Okay, so I was going to talk about Joe's camp today. I've been in contact with Joe over the last month. He's just starting to now have activity back on his property. A lot more tree branches are being bent over. Physical trees, are being like bent over in the middle of the night, and then to form a loop. And there's just a strange. They're all over his property. If you haven't seen Joe's camp on our YouTube channel, I would highly recommend you go there. We spent almost 2 years up there researching at least once a month, um, trying to document the activity he was experiencing. We documented howls, screams, whoops. We found footprints, all different sizes and shapes. Um, may have found a lizard man type footprint up there, which he reported as well. And just all kinds of strange stuff up there. We have better technology now. We have better cameras. We can probably see a lot clearer at his property because his property is in the middle of the forest. So there's not like streetlights everywhere. It's pitch black, especially if he doesn't have any of his lights on outside his property. He has 55 acres, so it's not a small property. Now, in Texas, it's probably not huge, but it's not small either. Um, I'm a little nervous, but also excited about this. Joe and I have been talking about this for a long period of time. We need to go up there and set up a tent on the back part of his property and see what the hell happens. I've had multiple sightings on Joe's camp, including a daytime sighting, and I've talked about this multiple times, but I'll just bring it back up real quick. So essentially, I was sitting there with Joe, looked up the where he had an old road carved through, and there was a tree dead in the middle of the path, in the middle of the road. I'm like, wait, was that there before? And Joe looked up there. He's like, no, but it just looked like a tree. It just looked like a tree. I couldn't understand why it was there. So I took a pair of binoculars and I zoomed in on it, and I could actually see it was a Bigfoot. It was actually standing kind of like mid stride, and it had one arm up and the other arm back, and 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. It's turned sideways, and it basically the body was turned towards us. I think it realized that it had been spotted and just stopped mid stride. And so I zoomed in on it, and I'm like looking at the face. Like this one was solid black. I could see around the mouth there was no fur. and I could see the wrinkle around the lips. It looked more like a monkey's face. That part of it, at least, looked like more like a monkey's face. And Joe always talks about the black ones that looking like they have sunglasses on. So, and their eyes are massive. Um, I zoomed in and I can only imagine. I can't say exactly how big it was, but the eyes looked like they were the size of baseballs. They were just solid black. And in the middle, about quarter size, maybe could have been bigger or smaller. Um, it looked like there was just this white spot. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's exactly what he was telling me he had seen. So just gives credibility to Joe. And yeah, so just crazy. We're going to be up in that area. The last time we were there, they had just, I mean, the road that was going up there was completely, you couldn't get up there. Even walking up there, they had knocked over several trees, and then they had put branches in between the trees. So it was like trying to walk through a landmine field, and they basically made it so it was impassable. And then there was just mud, thick mud, and it just rained for 3 or 4 days. In his area, they get a lot of rain, more than we get down here. We get about 60 inches here. I think they get close to 80 where he's at. So it's when it rains, it pours up there literally, and we've been up there multiple times when it's storming out. In fact, one of my best sightings, one of my craziest sightings, it was around 2 in the morning. We were under storm watch. We were hunkered down inside of his camp. It was blowing about 30 or 40 miles an hour outside, storming like crazy, just pouring rain, lightning and thunder. The kind of thunder that actually like rattles everything when it goes off. So I'm looking out the window and there's a lightning flash. And in between two trees, I can see it clearly because the lightning was so damn bright. It was like somebody turned the sun on. I could see this Bigfoot just standing there, and the water was just dripping off of its fur. I don't know if it could see me, but I could see it, and it was a really cool experience. It only lasted about 2 seconds. When the lightning flashed again a minute later, of course it was gone. But it was standing out there just looking at the trailer, and I'm like, oh, okay. So next time I think we'll have to probably take some heavy duty rain gear, and if it's going to rain, and go out and go ahead and investigate in the rain as much as we can. Unfortunately, with technology and everything, I mean, in the pouring rain, you're going to just destroy any equipment you have. So it's going to be more personal sightings and maybe using an iPhone or something like that to try and document anything you're seeing. So we're going to camp on his property, possibly for 2 nights. We're still working this out. Friday, Saturday night. There will be YouTube videos on this. My plan is to go up there and try and find a flat spot. He's going to probably use a trailer, his tractor, to go up there and create a flat spot for us right next to the forested area that he has on his property. And then we'll basically have a camera running most of the night. There's no power up there. This is one of those things where you basically, if you don't bring it, you don't have it. So we'll have to have our own power. We'll have to cook our own food. Everything's going to be off grid, essentially. It'll be off grid camping. It's not going to be a big deal. Joe does have running water on his property, so we'll be able to go down and get water if we need it or anything like that. But I wouldn't drink the water. He does also have natural springs on his property where fresh water just runs down out of the earth itself, and it's created these little fresh springs. The water's crystal clear. Would I drink it? No, I would probably boil it and then probably filter it before I boiled it, just because. But I do think the Bigfoot's good. I mean, he has 3 of them on his property, and they run pretty fast. They run pretty high when they do run, and then they run down through the rest of the forest as well. So he's also got deer, raccoons, possums, and they're not little. They're big. Squirrels, the size of small cats, and stuff like that. We see them on our trail cams because they set our trail cams off all the time. But we'll be doing a heavy-duty campaign up there. We might actually leave some trail cams back out there. Joe has been leaving trail cams when I need to go out there. And when I go out there, what I do is I take it and download all of his video and audio and everything that he's captured onto my computer. Then he and I go through and sort through it to see if there's anything there. The trail cam usually takes me a couple hours to break down because he's got 10,000 photos. Sometimes it takes me longer than that. Sometimes it takes me a day or two to get through all of his photos and his video. What we're doing with the trail cams is we have them set to video. I know, everybody says, oh, you just need a picture of them. No. I'd rather get a video. Most of these trail cams will take up to about 15 seconds worth of video. So I want to see what happens before and after the Bigfoot, supposedly, if they do come through. I want to see what happens before. Are they chasing a deer? Are they chasing an animal? Are they just cruising through? Did they not see the trail cam? We've been able to document them on trail cam up there before, but it takes a lot of work, and we have to be really careful, and we have to be very stealthy when we do it. These Bigfoots on his property, they're super intelligent. They know when you're there. I saw one basically on the edge of his property, hiding in the tree line, and they created a blind. They'd bent over a bunch of trees and then put a bunch of deadfall and stuff in there so you could hardly see it, but they could see out. You couldn't really see them. This was a juvenile, maybe a 6-footer, 5-footer, and it basically, I'm sure there was others. I just couldn't see them, and the only reason I saw it was because of the movement. I'm like, what? Oh, hey. So essentially, basically, ran back into the brush, I think. But a lot of the time they don't really disappear. That I think they try and make you think they ran away, but they probably either just ducked down or moved up a couple of trees or whatever. They moved up a couple of feet so that you think that they're not there. Joe also has, like I've said before, 3 cemeteries on his property. And then, we have Uncle, I forget his name. I have to remember who it is. But one of his uncles haunts the property. So we didn't know this when we first started. We're like, okay, my theory is that Bigfoots and ghosts seem to go together. Every location I've ever investigated has Bigfoots and ghosts. I don't know why. It just seems to be that way. And again, this is just based off of my experiences. There may be places where there's no Bigfoot and ghosts, but on his property, Black Star Canyon, a couple other canyons I went into, it seems like they're just, that they seem to be there. I can grab a K2 and go out, have you seen the Bigfoots? And the K2 will light up. And did you hear that? And the K2 will light up. Are you scared? The K2 will light up. They know that the Bigfoots are there. I don't know what, if they have something, if they're on the same level or what. I don't know. I don't think a Bigfoot is a ghost, but I don't know how that works. It's still something I'm trying to figure out. That'll be for another day. So recently he's had the Bigfoots come onto his property. He's seen them. He's gotten a few pictures of them. At night, he has surveillance video cameras facing out in 4 different directions off of the top of his trailer and stuff. So he can see them come down out of the woods into the back of his property. My apologies. I forgot the dryer was on. So anyways, he's had, stuff being moved around again. He's actually had multiple sightings of Bigfoots out there. Joe, I think he's super lucky, but I also think he's, it's kind of a curse. Being on a property either where Bigfoots come through or they basically hang out on your property or whatever, I believe is both a blessing and a curse. He has multiple sightings throughout the year. And so, I guess that's good, but also, they come up and they look through his windows, which scares the hell out of them. Imagine a 10-foot Bigfoot looking through your window. It's pretty damn scary. Imagine a big old head and face looking in at you, and it's like twice your size, and at least 3 or 4 times your width, and just looking in at you, going, "Okay, hey, I see you." So, yeah, that could be creepy. That's part of camping. I think we're going to have to leave. I swear that's the ghost doing that. So I think we're gonna have to essentially leave the windows undone in the tent when we camp up there, and we'll have trail cams kind of like facing down towards our camp, and maybe we'll leave some things out, like a cooler, so they can come in and grab a drink or something if they want it. We'll probably leave some other stuff just to see if they do come down. We're going to do some gifting for them. And if you don't know what gifting means, it just means leaving something out where there's no cameras and saying, whether it's marbles or putting some sticks on the ground in a certain pattern, or any kind of thing like that. You can leave marbles in different patterns, and you come back and they find a rocks. You like stack some rocks or next to each other, and you come back and they'll be stacked on top of each other. All this is considered to be Bigfoot activity. There's no proof of it, and again, you just have to take it with a grain of salt. It's just things I've heard or experienced. So Joe will also be showing us some other spots, some other Bigfoot hot spots are on his property. Joe lives in the middle of Bigfootville, if you will. And I'm just making that name up, but he's in a hot spot. His area is a very hot spot. I've done multiple research on locations around him. There's like multiple sightings of Bigfoots. So what we're trying to do on Joe's camp is figure out where are they coming from, where are they going to. A lot of the time, Joe thinks they kind of skirt his property on either the right side or the left side where all the trees are, or they stay in the back where they can't really be seen. And then they come down and they basically cross across the road that's there. And there's not a lot of traffic on the road. I mean, maybe one or two cars an hour. So it'd be real easy for me. I could even go out there in the middle of the night and cross the road and nobody would ever even know I did it. So if you go across the way, you get back, you continue on in the national forest. And so essentially, and there's deer over there, there's hogs over there, there's all kinds of food sources, of course, on his property too. He doesn't have any hogs on his property, which is a plus. One thing that scares me is hogs and getting cut up by their teeth or whatever they have, husks. So that's something we always take into consideration. One thing somebody asked me, well, why aren't you armed? Well, we have knives. I carry multiple knives on me and stuff like that. Every once in a while, I'll carry a gun if I feel I need to in a new location, if I've not been there before, if there's reports of hogs or whatever. When we were talking to the other gentleman the other day, we're going to be camping on his property as well. That'll be more of a stealth camp, and we're essentially going to go down there and maybe set up some kind of blind or something. So when they come trudging through, we'll have cameras, as many cameras out as we can, in as many different directions as we can, just see if we can document that. But so Joe has, like I said, Joe has multiple areas around him that have Bigfoot hotspots. One of them is actually an old Civil War cemetery, and the Bigfoots are seen in that area, in the cemetery and around the cemetery quite a bit. So, and then also there's a very large lake just down the way from there, maybe not even a mile from that. So, let me finish this up here. So, we will have an announcement coming soon, probably. Actually, today is the first day of March, isn't it? Okay, so yeah, we will be essentially we'll be making an announcement soon. We've just secured a new location that I'll kind of talk about. It's an old jail, and we met the owners. We went in there and kind of did a very short investigation, just about an hour, and we had the spirit box going. And these videos will be on YouTube at some point, probably. And they're just short clips. We got about 40 clips, almost 40 clips of the spirit box answering our questions. And they answered our questions intelligently. We asked names. We got Daniel and I don't remember, John, and a few other names came through really clearly. There seems to be a couple of dominant spirits in the place. We got a little girl's laughter whenever John would speak. whenever Daniel would speak, we think he's between an 8 and 11-year-old kid that maybe was maybe the warden's son or the sheriff's son. But we still have a lot of work to do on trying to figure out who's there and getting names and stuff. But the research will be starting up soon. We did a lot of online searching and there's no records. So essentially with this old jail, we have to go and we have to meet with people. We have to go talk to the town historian, talk to the county records, and try and get all this information. This jail was more like a holding jail. What would happen is we believe that they would come there basically right before their trial, and then because the courthouse was right across the way, the old courthouse was built across the way. So, and this place did have gallows. On the second story where the jail is, there's a door that goes out basically, and they think there used to be a platform there. We're going to have to double check this. And we believe gallows were there at that point. And so we do believe people were executed in this jail, or just outside of it. So we're going to be basically doing a full investigation this weekend there. So we'll be basically going out, setting up DVR cameras, and actually doing a full on investigation in every cell. I think there's 9 cells, 10 cells, plus one isolation cell that isn't really there anymore. They basically changed it and they made it a closet. The last company that was, using this location as an office. But so yeah, we're going to be hitting this place hard. We'll go in there and try and get as much data as we can, and then we'll present that to you guys. But there will be opportunities for other teams to come in and investigate this location as well. And then basically we're going to be allowing the public to come in as well and do an hour investigation with us. So we're going to collect as much data as possible. So be watching for that. I want to wrap this up. It's getting a little long, but we appreciate you guys. We'll make that announcement here probably after next weekend, probably next week, maybe on the next podcast or whatever. We'll probably have a YouTube video talking about the jail. If you go to our website, deepwoodsparanormal.com, you can kind of see what we're doing there with that. It's the old jail, old Walker jail. So you'll be able to go on there and see that. But yeah, lots of cool stuff coming down the pike. This month will be a heavy Bigfoot research month. We're going to do as much Bigfoot research as we can because we're going to be tied up with old jail probably on Friday and Saturday nights starting in April. So that'll be awesome for us too, and awesome for you guys if you're in the Huntsville area or in around Houston or whatever. This place is going to be amazing, and we're looking forward to documenting the activity that's going on and presenting it to you guys as we go. So we'll have a 6-month trial period where we're going to document as much as we can and basically share it with the owners, share it with you guys, and we'll just see what happens. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. I appreciate it. If you're on our YouTube channel, please like and subscribe. We appreciate you. And you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next one.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino. With cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.